Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monster Reviewers, where we take a monster from the official or third party books and break it down mechanically. It should be noted that everything that we'll be speaking about today is merely my opinion and speculation. In addition to that, I would like to prefix that we will not focus on the lore of these creatures, as there are other channels that already do this in great detail, and I will merely be focusing on speaking from my homebrewing experience and my experience as Dungeon Master running these games. Now, let's check this out. Aarakocra, armor class 12. I'm going to assume it has nothing on, so this is just base armor class. Hit points a 13, 20 normal walking speed, and a flying speed of 50. Now that is insane. That is definitely this thing's bread and butter. 10 strength, 14 dexterity, which is a plus 2 modifier, 10 in con, intelligence, 1 wisdom, and charisma. 0. Nothing too major here. Obviously, for a lower level creature, they're quite perceptive. Immediately giving us a plus 5 bonus to that. So making them extremely adept at being incredible watchers. They can be perched up in whether it be hills, cliff sides, or just flying about and scouting the areas. Passive perception is very decent to 15. And here we go. The dive attack. This thing right here is an absolute beauty. If the Aarakocra is flying and dives at least 30 feet straight towards the target and hits it with a melee attack, attack deals an extra 1d6 damage to the target. That is insane. That is so good. Especially for a lower encounter for this, you could put 3 of these guys, and this is dangerous for your party. Especially if you have just, like, say a barbarian or a fighter that chose not to take ranged weapons for God knows what reason. But if they do, then perhaps this is going to be incredibly dangerous for them. Talon is a plus 4 to hit, a 1d4 plus 2. This one clearly has no weapons except the javelin, which you can use obviously to stab with or just simply throw. Nothing too bad here, nothing too grand. Obviously, the typical number of javelins you tend to have is between 3 to 5. So I don't know what they're going to be given here. Just assume this is just one, but as a DM, I would recommend give them like 3, so they have a little bit of range versatility. So especially since they're flyers. Now, overall, this is just a flying creature. You'll see a different variety of these within the game. What I'm going to say is their damn uniqueness, what makes them incredible, is this right here. Summoning air elementals. Now, this beauty right here has so much potential, not just in storytelling and combat, but setting up encounters. It's so good. Obviously, depending on your setting, this could change. But with this being said, 5 Aarakocra within 30 feet of each other can magically summon an air elemental. Each of the 5 must use its action and movement on 3 consecutive turns to perform an aerial dance, and must maintain concentration while doing so, as if concentrating on a spell. When all 5 have finished their 3rd turn of the dance, the elemental appears in an occupied space within 60 feet of them. It is friendly towards them and obeys their spoken commands. It remains for 1 hour until or all of the summoners have died, or until a summoner dismisses it as a bonus action. A summoner can't perform this dance against until it finishes a short rest. Okay, so when the elemental returns to the elemental plane of air, any Aarakocra within 5 feet of it can return with it. That right there is phenomenal. You could use this in so many scenarios, which is like crazy good. Now we come over here. Let's go back to the stats, right? We'll go back to the elementals for a later moment. Let's get back to the stats real quick. Now, let's say your party members are level 3, right? How many would you use to these guys? Honestly, rule of thumb for me is if they're level 3, you look at the action economy. Check out how much HP they have. If these individuals hit them, how much would you take the average for the most part, but just in case, would they be able to knock them down? If so, use action economy. What I would recommend is 2 actions per individual. So you could have 6 Aarakocra, for example. Or a boss one that you could create and then just give one for each player. This thing, so far, for a lower level, it's pretty decent. Obviously, it can be tuned up and modified to whatever discretion you want and empowered. But before that, we're going to go ahead, as we just seen the stats and see what it's capable of. We're going to see if we can figure out how we can work this up in a setting. Again, we're not trying to use the core Dungeons and Dragons setting. We're trying to use homebrew settings that might fit to whatever world you're trying to build or already have built. For the setting, the Aarakocra's design seems to pivot greatly towards being raiders. With that said, however, their ability to summon the air elemental is a huge storytelling component, and one that can morph their civilization. For example, what if they were more Viking-like in culture? Instead of a seafaring folk, they could use their air elementals to create airships using the power of the wind elementals as some sort of engine. Following the same route as the Vikings did, and traveling great lengths for raids. Sure, they have their wings, but flying great lengths would still tire them out, and limit what little treasure they could bring back. With an enchanted ship, their flight could travel great distances, bring more supplies for longer raids, and harass the cities from above while gathering a great bounty on their ships. One could also take the approach of an advanced civilization of Aarakocra, high above the tallest peaks, with unrivaled magical prowess. A city within a storm that never ends. Thanks to their ability to conjure wind elementals, one could say they could easily summon a much more powerful air elemental, a creature of higher degree and pedigree. They could create a pact with such a monster, or perhaps they could enslave it and use it to their own nefarious deeds. Perhaps they chose a technological civilization, using the wind elementals to empower their engines of war. Mighty flying galleons armed with elemental cannons, elemental bombs would drop on their enemies, rifles and pistols with some kind of blasting ore found high in the mountain peaks, or created with some sort of pressurized wind magic. Their blasting ore is running low. Perhaps this could give them a reason to create a sort of trade with different empires or kingdoms, or giving them reason to invade others high in the peaks, depending on the needs of your world and what setting allows it, of course. Even if the setting follows a more European medieval style, the Aarakocra could have found some sort of kingship with giant eagles or griffins. Perhaps the Aarakocra knights would master fighting alongside their avian compatriots, since heavy armor would not allow them to fly as it normally would. An Aarakocra knight would ride on the griffin and add bladed weaponry to their wings in order to incorporate a more deadly combat style to themselves, perhaps their mounts as well, depending on the weight of the blades, of course. 50 feet of flying speed is the greatest strength. Combined with their dive attack, this can lead to devastating results in an ambush scenario. If two of these creatures were to hit your PC while diving and using the javelin, we're talking each Aarakocra dealing an average of 8 points of damage. For a level 3 party, this can be truly an ordeal. In this scenario, the most likely target would be the character wearing less armor, eliminating the threat the character could pose to the Aarakocra. In addition, if they catch the party by surprise, they could very well down a PC. Attacking with advantage and the possibility of 8 damage with no reactions can be a deadly situation for any player. The Aarakocra can also disengage and fly 30 feet in the air in order to stay safe, and also to capitalize on their dive attack again and again and again. If you wish to make the encounter more difficult, give them leather armor to increase the AC. If these creatures know the PCs are headed this way, they could prepare the air elemental ahead of time with their air dance, creating a more dangerous encounter. Keeping themselves safe, if the air elemental knocks your players down, the Aarakocra could take them captive, creating an interesting story thread for you and your players to explore. Based on the PC's levels, if you acquire a stronger Aarakocra, you could always modify the numbers and abilities a little bit. As an example, I took the liberty to create an Aarakocra Bladed Knight template for you as a link to D&D Beyond. The link will be below. It's a rather simple design to add a bit of challenge to the fight for a 3rd level PC group. Based on your setting, one could have them become gunslingers. You could have something different. You simply change the template a little and add new weaponry. For an Arcanist, one simply modifies the stats and adds spells befitting a caster of its caliber. Raining down hell on an opponent from the sky while casting spells or firing your weapons. Combined with a few melee-based divers, this could become an encounter to be reckoned with for a high-level party. As we spoke before, depending on your setting, there could also be a ship pelting down some artillery or just dropping air bombs. If you wanted to create a more memorable boss fight, you could change the lair actions and legendary actions to that of the ships firing down artillery or dropping down the bombs. One could also have the Aarakocra boss summon 1d4 Aarakocra of whatever design you seem fit for the party level. As always, balance the fights based on your PCs. Your goal should be to challenge them, not simply TPK them. Overall, this monster has phenomenal implications and can be rather diverse in its place inside the setting of your choosing. If you enjoyed this simple review, leave a like and subscribe, as it will help me grow this channel and help me create more in-depth reviews. Please leave your comments below on strategies I may have missed or what place do the Aarakocra have within your setting. I would love to hear them.